And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So tonight we're going to be reviewing it. Welcome to Derry, episode 4, the great swirling apparatus of our planet's function. I have my good friend Chris here. Last time he was here, we did Peacemaker season 2. Now he's back to do it. Welcome to Derry, episode 4. So let's go ahead. Let's welcome Chris back to the show, and let's do this, guys. And hey, Chris, welcome back.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me back.
You're very welcome. So I have a question. How have you been enjoying this series? I know that Rossi and I have been enjoying this. And guys, I just want to let you know, Rossi had something that came up. I know I lied inside in the description that she's going to be here, but she's going to be here for next Monday's review. But still, what did you think of this episode overall?
This episode, I thought it was a nice setup. The series so far, since that was your first question, I am enjoying it so much. I really needed a good horror series, and I'm glad that this one came out. It's been really nice, fast pace. This episode, I like. It was a lot of world and lore building, and it really helps give some history to what's going on, and I really enjoyed it.
That's one thing I liked about this episode too, was the world building, the lore. I feel like, we have chapter 1 and chapter 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is just an extension of that world building that we're getting with this. It's just like an extra extended add-on, which is something that I really do appreciate within this series itself.
Yeah, it's building up more of the world. You get a little more understanding of what things are going on, and figuring out what this creature is, right?
Exactly. So let's go on ahead. Let's get into it. So Will and Veronica, Lily Rich shows the police the pictures to Clint. They don't see what the kid sees. Clint threatens them that they shouldn't go and get involved in police work. Now, Rossi and I were like, okay, did they really wind up getting the pictures that they needed? And I said no. I said chances of them getting this is definitely not something that, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely not something that's going to happen
Right.
because of the fact it manipulates the adults into seeing whatever it wants them to see, and therefore they didn't get anything. I said it would be funny if they just walked out of this and they have a bunch of selfies of themselves making idiotic faces instead of something, and then instead it's just like bird crap, and then there was something else. And then something surprised me though with this, right? Because Clint was like, wait, I see a little statue, which is the same thing that the kids saw, which was the clown. So my thing is this: I don't think that was actually Pennywise in that picture. If Clint was able to see that picture,
I don't know. I mean, it could have been just like a blip, but I think Pennywise has a way of manipulating people's minds. So maybe he just, I mean, is he a perfect creature? Maybe, and or will he make some mistakes, or is he just leaving that in there just to get that little seed planted for that fear that he wants to build up?
right? But for me, I think that this is actually somebody else, and there's some theory going online that's saying that it's Miss Shaw from it chapter 2, which is the thing that it winded up pretending to be and took the persona of her. And
Could be.
and it's also people are also speculating Mrs. Shaw is also the clown that was at the very beginning of episode 3 in that carnival.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can actually see that in a way because of the fact that Clinton is able to see this. It is manipulating the adults. The only people that can actually see anything are the kids because of the way that
Right.
it manipulates it. So that's why I was thinking that the fact that it's not really Pennywise.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, we also have other spirits, right, getting involved. Like Dick's mom, right, showing up.
Right. And we'll get to
So,
that. Right.
yeah.
But with Dick's mom though, a grandmother coming in there though. it's basically his shine because he
Mhm.
is a part of the shining universe. So basically, he's seeing her through a vision of saying, "Be careful,"
Right.
and it's like death, right? Where it's soft at first, and then it starts getting louder and louder because she keeps on warning him throughout episode 1, 2, and 3. And then finally, this happens out in the woods with Dick and his buddies. And, I just thought that was something that was really horrifying as well, seeing the grandmother over there trying to warn him out of the blue. But what did you think?
So I thought it was kind of creepy. It was kind of like nice because he has these like psychic abilities, right?
Right.
I also kind of was going off of for the kids being able to see it. They say kids have a little bit more of an open mind and maybe a little bit closer to the psychic ability stuff. So maybe that's why they're being kind of played. And that's kind of the reason why I thought maybe it could just be another spirit getting involved with the
Mhm.
pictures. And for some reason you can't catch the kids spirits that were chasing them through the cemetery, right? Because that was actually Pennywise them
Right.
doing all that work, but an actual spirit probably could have maybe gotten caught on the photographs.
That's a possibility of like a real spirit would be able to do that in something that it didn't manipulate. Yeah. But with Dick, though, I think that this is his shine, and
Right.
that is his his grandmother really warning him
Yeah, I think
because
his
yeah,
is real. Yeah, that's because he knows how to control and look into that and all that and everything. But I was more leaning towards the kids section.
right. I gotcha. But the thing that that I'm really enjoying is the fact of the world building, like you mentioned. Clint is actually Henry Bowers's grandfather,
Mhm.
and then you have Butch, who's actually Henry Bowers's father.
Right.
So Clint is actually the person who's a part of the police force. And do you remember Henry Bowers from the original It movie?
Yes.
Okay, okay. But yeah, I definitely like the manipulation within this world, and then Veronica and them trying to prove her dad's innocence, and it's just the circumstances with this still breaks my heart, and it doesn't matter what they do, it is still
Yeah.
gonna win because of the manipulation within the police force, and then also too, with the racism going on within the 1960s itself, it's like an open shut case, right? It's like, "Well, we got our guy, he's a black guy, so this has to be the guy that we have."
Right.
So, there's no reason to even open up the books because
And
right.
on top of that, whatever Pennywise's power is, the whole town just seems to ignore any rising hate or anything. So, I mean, on top of that as well, it just like it's a whole fuel sandwich.
Right, it's a whole entire cancer if you think about it, it's poison within this town itself where these people are being manipulated by it. No one sees anything. They choose not to see anything as if everything is just perfect and honky dory when it's not. I do like Veronica is also now this is also another thing too, like in the bathroom with Veronica um, and stuff like that too. Veronica's afraid that her dad will be transferred to Shawshank. 1930s kids disappearing. That's also another thing with Mrs. Shaw. Like I said before, I'm thinking that that's Pennywise because here's the thing: why else do you think that this woman is making making Lily push herself to find out more information?
Right. It's interesting, like why because we don't see her too often, right? But she does appear, and then she keeps like pushing her to find more stuff. And she met her at the institute, right? That's where she first met her.
Yeah, she met her at at the institute because
S-
remember she said people are afraid of what they can't see. And
Right.
now she's telling her now that she needs to go ahead and keep investigating it. And Lily even asked her, she said this to her. She said, "Well, did anything like this ever happen?" She goes, "Yeah, in the 1930s, stuff like this happened, but
Yeah, like
nothing drastic."
all casual and everything about it,
Right.
right? It's
Like it's
like
another Tuesday.
and then she's just this seems kind of like the opposite of what like a counselor or anything would be doing. It's like, well, let's talk about your issues and what's going on in life right now, not go investigate this more and see what you can pull up.
Right. And so you have that going on, and then the scene in the gym and stuff like that. And the cop, and basically they're like, look, we can't do anything about this because we're going to get in trouble for it. And it just hurts that neither side is wrong. It's just the circumstances that Lily and Veronica are both in. And Will's trying everything he can do. So is Rich. It's
Right.
just like they're, you know, it's
Yeah.
like,
And
yeah,
what can you do against
right,
this being? And no one's really going to take kids seriously, anyways, right?
exactly.
Because kids have a wild imagination. Maybe they all watched a movie or read a book or
Right,
heard.
exactly. That's exactly what the cops are gonna say. Like, you
Yeah.
know, what was your kids reading? Because their imaginations can go haywire and stuff like that. It's
What
but
comic books?
yeah, what comic books is your son reading?
Because I remember that. I think that was a thing back then too. Comic books bring out evil and stuff like that back in those
Right,
days.
something that they don't understand is what they're afraid of.
Yeah.
But I do like this other thing too. When Rose visits the Hollands, Rose becomes friends with Leroy's wife, and this is where she also tells his wife that, hey, yeah, there's an evil in Derry that you need to
Ye-
be aware of.
Yeah. There's something going on. And this, I'm not quite sure where to go with that one.
Well, I like the fact that she's in the know of this because of her
Hmm.
culture, because of her Indian culture. And there's racism going on all over the place within this town. You have black racism. You also have the Cuban racism going on because of Richie's background because he's Cuban.
Right.
Then you also have the Indian tribe as well. So you have racism going on in all parts of this show. But I like
Yeah.
the fact that they're not using the N word or anything. What they're doing with this show is smart. Is like, look, we can show racism, but we're going to show racism in a smart way. We're just
Hmm.
going to go on ahead and let these characters look at someone of color or look at someone that's different in a different way, and that will mark the way that we're going to deal with racism. I think it was a smart move to go in that direction and
Yeah. I
stuff
think
with that.
they're doing a really good job of portraying it without using a lot of the derogatory terms of the time. Um, I mean, the whole group that was on the military base, they sent them all the way off of base, right?
Right,
But at the same time, I mean, they have a nice setup now that it's all cleaned up. But still, it was like they obviously still have an issue with them being in the military during this time frame as well. And then the Native Americans are all trying to keep people off the land. The government's just pushing themselves on the land, and it's
right. It's all segregated. But, you know, I want to go on this. I want to piggyback off of what you said though, because Dick and the guys is what I'm going to say.
mhm,
And what I like about this is the fact is like, okay, so we're gonna go on ahead. We're gonna move you guys off of base and let you guys have your own space because that's what is more comfortable for you. No, it's more comfortable for you, douchebag, because you don't want someone that is different than you or looks different than you in the military, even though they're supposed to be serving and protecting our country. You're still being a ball bag. And
right.
so Dick is looking at the opportunity of like, I get to be with my friends and maybe not have to shield myself from this. And I don't have to go ahead and read people's minds or anything. I can just be myself for a little bit, like he did with Leroy and
But then
everything
his
at the beginning
grandmother
of it.
pops up.
Yeah, the grandmother pops up, and that scene was very eerie and creepy.
Hmm.
And especially with everything that everything that I know about the Shine and what he's doing, and she even knows about his shine and what he's doing. And she goes, look, you need to put a lid on it.
Right.
And that's not something that he should be using because get this. Not only are they going to try and weaponize it, not only is the military going to weaponize it, but they're also trying to weaponize Dick as well because he's also forcing him to do something that he doesn't want to do, but he has to do it under direct orders.
Right. And then at the same time, from the last episode when they were flying over, right? He said, when he got back, "What did you see?" And Dick was like, "It's more like it saw me." So,
Right.
it's kind of like a warning, from his grandmother to him, like, "Hey, this thing is a little bit stronger than you should, so maybe stop.
Right.
Put a lid on it. Let's not go further into this."
Right. You do not need to go through anything else. Just put a lid on it. Be safe. Don't do this.
Yeah,
Okay.
and,
And yeah,
well, we know that that's not gonna happen because, he's
no,
gonna follow orders. He's a good
exactly.
soldier.
So then we have the scene where we have Marge and all them inside the classroom. There's actually a turtle reference again in the show, which is the turtle that I mentioned in my um the his town history thing.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean, so basically that is actually the counterbalance. He's actually the protector and the good
Mhm.
one. Well, it is actually the chaos and the psychopath of something that's totally different than Martrin. Martrin is actually the protector. So I do like the fact that they're even mentioning the turtle in this. And then Marge is also creeped out by snails in this. So we have a little bit of a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to her later on in the series and in
Yeah.
this episode. But we'll get to that in a minute. But did you have anything to add as far as that classroom scene or no?
Oh, that classroom scene. Uh, she got what was coming to her, really.
Right. So then we have Will. Will comes home. His mom finds the pictures, and Will is telling his mom what happened at the cemetery. Will's mom wants Will to tell Leroy about Veronica. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the first thing that happens. He gets in trouble for the pictures that he has in the drawer,
Yeah.
and once she finds the pictures and she finds out what Will said, she's like, okay. She goes over to the police station and demands that she sees Veronica's father. And Clint is like, no, you're not a visitor. You're not anyone that is a relative or anything. So I'm not going to let you see him or anything.
Right.
And I'm like, I like how the fact that she's not dumb, she's smart, and she knows what racism is. And the fact that she's even from the South and now she moved up to the North, and there's worse racism than it is in the South, than it was in the South. And she's like, well, does he have a lawyer? Did he lawyer up? What's going on? And she gave him all the laws of everything that they've done wrong.
Yeah, and I like she also, like, she kinda played it off too, like, the kids were chased in the cemetery, so somebody's obviously still out there, right?
Right.
Just like you were saying, it could have been somebody, earlier, and then she went from there, and she's like, "You know what? Let me go ahead and push this a little bit further. Uh, have you, has he lawyered up and everything?" And then, he's going by the books, right? And saying, "Well,
Right.
you're not family, you're not a lawyer or whatever." And then she goes home, or whatever, and then when she comes back, she has this letter. And she talks to one of the detectives, right? One of the deputies.
Well, she goes over to Veronica's grandmother,
Yeah,
which is also her father's mother.
that's where
And
she got the letter.
right. And so she talks to somebody that's not Clint, and she goes, he goes, look, I have a note now that says I'm allowed to talk to him. He goes,
Right.
well, you can't get the okay unless the captain says it. He goes, well, I have the letter. So guess what? She goes on ahead. She talks to Veronica's father. Veronica's father now confirms that he wasn't at home or
Yeah.
anything. And she goes, "Well, what's so bad about sleeping with a married woman? That's not that bad." And then, oh, she's white. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he knew the whole racism thing. He'd just be
Right.
strung up, so that's why he didn't wanna say anything, and not only that, whatever would happen to the woman as well, right?
Right.
Uh,
And I totally get
so
his point. It's like I don't want no harm to come to me. Not only do I not want no harm to come to me, but I also don't want no harm to come to this innocent woman that slept with me because of what her and I did. Because they're gonna be hanging me up with a rope instead of sending me to Shawshank.
right.
So I totally get it. It's like I'd rather be in Shawshank than be hung in front of other people and be put out there like that. And also too, the woman could also die too because the husband could also kill her.
Right.
So I totally get it. And then you have this other thing that
And
plays out. She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Going ahead."
and the whole town would ostracize her if she
Hmm.
doesn't die, you know.
Exactly. And then you also have where she tells him, she goes, "Well, since you didn't lawyer up or anything like that, you're entitled to a lawyer. You also might get on house arrest because they don't have enough evidence on you right now. You'll go to trial, but you'll get to be home with your family."
Right. And you have a more of an actual chance of defending yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
and that's
like this.
all of her experience from the civil rights movement that she had just come from. And her husband, remind me his name again?
Leroy.
Leroy. Yeah, he's like, stop getting into stuff, stop getting in messes and stuff like that. This is my job over here. But she's gonna go help somebody who's presumably is innocent, right?
Right.
And she's going to use all that power and that knowledge that she has, which is awesome, to try and get him at least some more time with his family.
Right. And, you know, I understand where Leroy is coming from. He's like, look, I work for the military, I work for the government, United States government. They're all already chastising me for being the skin color that I am. I don't need more fuel to the fire than what you're doing right now. But at the same time, though, she's a stay at home mom who is cooking and cleaning for Leroy. She doesn't really have much going on for herself.
Yeah.
And she's a civilian.
And
And
Will's
she's
at
doing
school.
what she, huh?
And Will's at school.
Right. So, I understand. I totally get why she wants to do this. She wants to be the person that wants to do something right without someone telling her not to do something when it something. So I like where she's going with this. And I definitely disagree with Leroy with
Yeah,
this,
I
you
agree.
know?
I disagree with him too. It's like you got to stand up for yourself, and she
Right.
has the knowledge and the experience to do so.
It's like, okay, you're fighting racism in the military, but out here on these streets, you're not seeing the racism out in these streets as much as I am because I'm also a civilian who's witnessing this.
Right.
So it's like no one's right or wrong. It's just that the fact that there's racism on both ends, and their racism is different than what they're seeing.
Hmm.
But
Just
I just
different
think that
areas.
right, I just think Leroy is wrong in this
Hmm.
because I would want my wife to stand up for anything. Then again, this is someone of color, but still at the same time though, he doesn't want anything to happen to his wife. But his wife, I have to say, she can take care of herself. She's a strong, independent woman who is not going to back down.
Yeah.
You know.
And then we move into
So now we got Leroy and okay, so then we get the dinner table scene with uh I thought for sure she was wanting to tell Will about the pictures at the cemetery because she goes, "Are you going to tell him?"
yeah, I totally thought she was going to push him for that too, but I think she also saw how uncomfortable Will was, and
But yeah.
then she just didn't. She like at the last minute changed her mind and went and said, "Oh, he's got a girlfriend."
Or he has a crush. And I
Or
love
yeah.
that moment. It reminds me of us as kids when we have our first crush and we tell our parents, and then the first person we run to is our mother, and then after that is the father. And it's like, "Oh, really? So tell me more about her." So I like the fact that it's now a changed conversation at the dinner table because I also think too is like my son is also trying to do the same thing that I'm doing as well, and he's trying to do something right and just as I am. So I think it's the relatability between mother and son
Hmm.
as to why she didn't ask him to tell him about the pictures. But I definitely like the dinner table scene. It was a very funny, loving moment of showing the innocence of the child. And then what does Leroy do? He wants to take his son to spend more time with him by going fly fishing.
Oh yeah, and that is I'm not a big fan of fly fish. I'll do other fishing, but not fly fishing. So I was like, okay. And I was watching it, and they're out there, they're fly fishing, and they almost get the fish, right?
Right.
Almost. Will almost catches it, but then it comes off the line. He needs a new fly. And I actually got irritated because his dad just left him in the middle of the.
He's like, he's good. It's low tide tonight. He's good to go.
I'm
You
like,
know,
bro, even if there's not a crazy monster out to get everyone, why would you just leave your kid to go? I mean, I know it's different times, but like, yeah, like
it's like,
it
well, my
just
son. It's like, well, I'm in the military. My son knows some stuff. He'll be good. He'll be all right.
right. And everything is fine, and then you start noticing like,
And it is a stream though too. Like, but as someone that lives like knows Boston and stuff like that, I didn't know what fly fishing was up until my uncle introduced me to fly fishing.
oh yeah,
So it's a big thing up in New England, in the New England area and stuff like that with fly fishing. But I also find fly fishing a lot. I like just a regular cast. I don't like doing that.
right.
But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But
Yeah. And
but
he leaves, he makes it to his truck, and Will is still out there holding onto his pole, and then one of the fish just swims right up to him. It's like, oh no. You could almost see it coming, like something's gonna happen. And then the fish kind of disappears into rocks, and then boom, you have that hand reach out.
exactly. And even the fish look kind of weird though.
Yeah.
And pun intended, it looked kind of fishy because
It looked
because
like a koi fish,
it
which
looked
is
like a
out of
koi fish,
place.
but with hair
Yeah.
on top of it. Like it didn't look like a normal fish.
No, it was a weird looking fish, and then it just boom, Pennywise working his evil magic again, yanks him under, like was it maybe a foot foot deep water is
A
now
foot
like
of deep water, but still, that's still scary because it's actually an arm that pulls him down. And you know, this is what I'm going to say. That was not his father that he saw in the water. It was him as a grown up being burnt up because he died
You think
in the
so?
future. He died in the future. He ended up dying in that. Remember on It Chapter 1 where Mike sees a bunch of burned hands and stuff like that
Yeah.
in the alleyway? That was actually the mill or whatever that ended up catching on fire. And Will's dad, not Will's dad, Mike's dad was actually the one who. Well, I'm getting crossed up.
Yeah.
Will, sorry, I'm getting timeline. Okay, so basically, this is what I'm trying to say. Mike's dad, Will, dies in that fire.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm thinking, yeah,
I thought because I thought it was his fear that his dad was going to die because he had crashed in Vietnam in the past. That's why he
mm,
has the scars on his face.
right. But I was also thinking too, what if something happened to him and Dick in the future where they're looking for Pennywise or it and they crash? And there's a glimpse of him seeing his dad underwater. But it makes more
So,
sense. Yeah.
do you think Pennywise could pull from the future into the past? If that's the
I think
case?
I think he could, but I think that I'm leaning more towards the fact that it's actually Will's actually seeing his own self
Mm,
not being dead, but he's not.
okay.
But Will is not understanding that or anything because he's in
Right.
the present, so he only thinks that his dad is going to be the one who dies.
Right. And he may not recognize himself. And as we grow, sometimes we look like our parents when we get older too, right?
Right, and also too, Will's dad is actually in It Chapter 1. So that tells me that Leroy is actually survived this.
Yeah.
So that tells me that that was Will
Yeah. I
in the
could see
future.
that. I can see that.
So
Um,
now, yeah.
so
So
yeah, he gets swept up, and his dad comes running back and pulls him out, and then sees all the burns on his arms, and then you see our favorite balloon floating across, right?
I'm gonna tell you that gave me goosebumps on that.
I was
Like
like,
that
we're
creeped me
finally
out,
at the red balloons.
right? And the fact that Leroy can actually see this.
Yeah. So
And
Leroy, I think because his fear when he came running back, he thought, something was happening to his son. He had that fear, and then Pennywise just grabbed right onto that fear right there. So now he can start seeing stuff that Pennywise is doing.
that actually does make sense as well. But I was also going on the theory of the fact that, they're not still connected within this community yet with Derry to the point
Mm,
where his brain is not poisoned by it or anything. So I was thinking of the lines of the fact that because of the fact that they're new in town, that's why he's able to see the balloon. But you do make a very good theory, though, on the fact that, we know that this is actually amplifying fear. It amplifies fear, which also amplifies it to actually
mhm.
kill and scare the
Yeah.
hell out of people.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
think I think getting that adrenaline and everything, and I think Will even mentioned it, that, some predators like to scare their prey and stuff
Mhm.
to a point to where, they finally get all that adrenaline and stuff in their system to taste, quote, quote
Right.
unquote, taste the way they want it. So, I mean, I think his fear of his son drowning or something happening to him really spiked all that, and then Pennywise sensed it since he was there, he was doing that to Will, right? And then he
Right.
just latched onto that, and now his dad's gonna see more of Pennywise actions. And yeah, uh and then we see it later when Will can't sleep, right?
Right.
So he
But I
looks out the telescope.
but I like this scene though, right? Where it's like the kids are like, "Wait, does he eat us?" And like he's like, "Yeah." And so now Veronica has the idea of using the pills because the mother has happy pills that make everything feel better. And I thought to
The
myself,
feel
"Well, if
better
you're
pills.
right, but do they though? Because if your ass is asleep."
It was funny because as they were talking about it, and then she brought it was like anxiety meds, and, and then she brings out, oh, these are my mom's. I'm like, anxiety meds. I was right.
Because get this, okay, I remember my doctor, right? She's like, "I'm gonna help you with your fear and anxiety with taking your GED test, right?"
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So she gave me a small dose of Xanax to see how I was gonna do. The good news is I didn't have any fear. The bad news is I felt like I was floating on a cloud.
Oh man,
Like
I also
I slept.
I have anxiety attacks after my last car accident that I was in, and they tried putting me on Xanax, and my brain was still firing off a million miles a second, but my body was just like, yeah, I'm here. But my brain was
Yeah,
still like going like crazy, and my body's just like not. It was like so out of sync. But
right.
yeah, she pulls those out, and I'm like, oh, anxiety pills.
I'm like, "Lily, these people already think you're nuts. Now you're gonna drug the students, and you're gonna
Right.
go back to Juniper Grove for selling not soliciting, but for giving your classmates anxiety meds without a
And then
prescription."
and then she has a whole new Pennywise moment at school, right?
Right.
And she ends up not even taking it because she drops it down the toilet.
But to be fair, though, that would scare me too, especially if the stall is not opening for me. I'm
Right.
hearing someone that I know screaming for her
Mhm.
life. But come on, girl. You need to go on ahead, move yourself a little bit away from the toilet and not try to take the pill over the toilet.
Yeah, I was just like, "Oh, no," and then she tries reaching in. I was like, "No, no, stop.
No,
It's gone."
well, another thing too is I'm like, it could actually grab you from that little hole and drown you, just like
Yeah,
how he was going to drown Will. So I'm thinking, no, do not put your hand down that toilet. I was not
a
thinking of
whole
germs. I was
a
not
whole 'nother drain thing, right? Because he comes out
right,
the sink, comes out the toilet now you have toilet monster.
right. And get this, that's actually why I was scared as a kid after the miniseries because I thought he was going to come through the toilet and grab my ass and pull me into the toilet.
I had a problem with sink drains for a while myself.
Me too. In showers.
Yep.
But okay, so let's talk about this. So Veronica is part of the Patty Cakes. Patty Cakes is a stupid name,
Yeah.
but she tells Lily, "Oh, I feel so bad about what happened." And so, because I feel bad about what happened, I want to make up. And then she sees this jock that Lily likes, and now that jock is also acting like he's interested in Lily when he's really not. I think his name is Tim.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
so, get this. She goes, "Well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom to freshen up." And
Mhm.
then Marge just gives like a hit. I swear, I want this character to die.
Yeah.
The actress is doing a fantastic job of playing Marge,
Yeah, she
but
is
the
doing
character,
such a
yeah,
great job portraying this character that I absolutely hate this character and just want to smack her in the face. She's doing such a great job, and there's only a few characters like or a few actors that can portray a character that you absolutely just hate, you know?
exactly, man,
And
exactly.
she's doing such a great job with it. I love it. I love it and hate it at the same time.
Same here, and I got Carrie vibes from this. I'm
Yeah.
like, and then finally you see this. We were talking about the bathroom scene,
Mhm.
and then Veronica starts seeing something in her eyes, and they turn blood red. Next thing you know, she has snails for eyes.
Yeah, from the video they were just watching in
Yeah,
class. Yeah, she was making, like, a weird face, like, I guess she's afraid of those kind of things, and she's just like, Roger Rabbit, freaking
Christopher Lloyd's character of the
Christopher
judge,
Lloyd, yeah. Oh,
and
and her eyes are just, like, all over the place.
and then she goes to the wood shop class.
Mhm.
And at the same time, I'm like, no, girl, you don't need to do that. Because now all of a sudden, all I care about her because Lily's actually following her. I'm like, no, leave her be, Lily. Leave her be.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I kind of was like there was like a brief moment of redemption she was gonna have right before all
Right.
this happened. She was actually gonna tell her, I think, that
Yeah.
it was all a setup. But Pennywise is Pennywise,
Yeah. Pennywise had other plans.
and
And she
the whole woodshop scene.
she didn't see it she didn't see it coming, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, and
But
she runs in. She has those laws. And I actually like I don't even know what her thought process was just using the freaking saw. Like what?
because I think that the fact that, it's like, okay, these are snails, and I just want these snails off of my eyes.
Yeah, I
So,
don't maybe just one of those panic things, just cut it
right.
out.
I'm like, no. And then you see Lily on top of her. I'm like, that's it. You're going to Juniper Grove again.
Yep, no, that's it. Because
But
the saw doesn't work, so she picks up the wood chisel and starts stabbing her eye, and then Lily pulls it away, and then of course all the classmates walk in. So what's in her hand?
exactly. And here's the thing. If Marge winds up telling them, "Oh, I had snails for eyes, and that's why I was stabbing my eyeballs out," she'll be going to Juniper Grove too.
Yeah, they're all going. We'll have a whole new series called Juniper Grove.
Right? Which is her and Marge. But I'm thinking that Marge is going to say, "Hey, look, Lily didn't have anything to do with it or anything like that." I don't know what excuse she's going to have for plugging her eyeballs out, but
I don't
she's
know.
gonna. But you know what though? The thing is though, I just started thinking about this as we're talking about it. You know how the patty cakes always look down on Lily for being cuckoo, right?
Right.
Now tables are going to turn on Marge. Now she's not going to be part of that patty cake group now.
I think she was on the edge anyways. I think the girls were using her.
Yeah, the girls were using her, peer pressuring her, and stuff like that. But at the same time, though, this is an easy excuse for them to say, "Oh, it must be a friendship thing between Lily and her to be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs."
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I don't see her being part of the patty cakes anymore after
I
this.
don't I don't see her being a part of it either. If she even says anything, or if she even gets the chance to say anything,
Right.
you know.
I think she's gone in the next episode.
Yeah, probably. There's
So
they're just using her, and I mean, they could still use her if she doesn't say anything, right? There's like, see, she is crazy. Lily is a nut job.
right, and they said, and I could see no wonder why you want to be a part of, want to be her friend. You're just as crazy as she is.
Right.
I knew you
Yeah.
weren't. I know you weren't on our patty cake. But anyway, um, Leroy's wife goes back. Okay, so another thing too is I like how Leroy is also investigating the military and stuff like that too. It's like, what are we dealing with here?
Yeah.
Why? And finally, he said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you in." And it comes to find out, Rose's nephew is over there looking at the military base. He lets them in, and then you have that conversation between the nephew and Dick,
Hmm.
which is Daniel, I think is his name. But he basically, the I just feel bad for Dick because he's being weaponized to unlock this kid's head to get the information he needs because Rose came out he came out empty-handed with the sergeant
Right.
because of the fact that she gave him the wrong information. So now he has to interrogate Rose's nephew, and this scene was terrifying. Um,
Yeah. That was Shaw, right? General Shaw.
yeah, General Shaw.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole scene, I mean, this is where the world building really started for this episode. Uh when you get into it, because you get so much history from him going into his mind. His name is Taniel.
Daniel, yeah, Daniel. I don't know why I said Daniel for some reason, but
I think it's spelled pretty much the same, just with a T instead of a D.
Daniel. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he Taniel fights him pretty well at the beginning, but then he kind of succumbs to Dick. But you get the history of at least what the tribe understands of this creature,
Mhm.
and you can see all the different manifestations that Pennywise uses, right? Like this zombified like deer.
And then the
um,
moose the moose as well, which is also massive in size.
yeah.
And then you also have the settlers as well. That's also part of another fear as well for that tribe
Hmm.
because of the what happened with their ancestors and everything too. So it's just a horrifying scene of seeing this happen, and they're using the shards as a way to keep the balance where it won't get out, and they have to stay within the shards itself.
Right. And they end up having, because they only had one shard, so they ended up having to go and get our lucky number 13, right?
Right,
13 shards and make a barrier around, hoping that would help confine it.
right. And I like the mythology with this though, of using the tribes, what I'm saying, the mythology within the tribe and stuff like that in the story. And I like this thing of where there's this the doors where Dick is looking through like the memories and stuff like that of Taniel. And he goes
Mhm.
into the door and there's like little Taniel sitting down and Rose is asking him about what I'm saying about if he remembers the story of the
Right.
Baloo or Kalu or whatever. And he tells the story and that
Mhm.
story is just horrifying.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I like she puts down, some stories are just for learning, and some stories are actually real, and she points out to that one, so he knows that it's actually real, um, from her, and he goes through the whole story, and it's horrifying, and you can only imagine, like, dealing with this creature and it just slaughtering pretty much everyone.
it slaughters everybody. It actually feeds on the fear of the tribe, and then finally Dick. I like this moment where he finally we sees the old house where the will is that we got from the first chapter 1,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden you see the Rose's eye goes down, and he claps and he goes, "Thank you, I got everything I needed."
Yep. And then he leads them to another door, right?
Yeah, do you remember?
He leads them to another door, and then it's like super bright. I can't remember what happened
Oh
or
yeah,
where the
that was when we were seeing the house.
yeah.
The
Let's see this old dilapidated house.
And that's exactly where it is in the chart, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But, I just thought the mythology around this and the world building that they did with this episode was perfectly well executed. It needed this as someone that, and I actually know the lore of this, but for someone that, that are just casual Stephen King fans or someone that hasn't read the books or anything, I like the fact that they're showing the history of this.
Yeah, and it's great, and you give more substance to the story. You bring more to the world from what they understand. People who don't know will know that Pennywise is not from Earth now, right?
Right. And
And there is a possible way to possibly contain him.
exactly. And then also too, you know how I talked about Mrs. Cush or whatever?
Hmm.
Okay, so Mr. Gray is actually the husband to her, who actually was what the guy who was running the carnival,
Oh
which is
yeah.
which is the one who was all, get this, that's also the same one that it also manipulated. Like he took the persona of him and made
Hmm.
him into the clown and stuff like that because of the woman clown. So I just want to point that out there. But we didn't. I know that you mentioned the part where Leroy going out in the middle of the street. You see Will with the telescope and stuff. I want to get into
Yeah.
that just a little bit because I didn't get a chance to talk about that.
Hmm.
But I just thought it was really frightening. First, you have this guy just walking down the street with his dog, and then you
Right.
see a balloon. No, 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 you see a clown,
You see a
and
clown. Yeah.
it scares the hell out of Will, and then Leroy is like, "What the heck is going on?" So he goes out there, he's mad as hell, which he has every right to be. Then he
Yeah.
sees the balloon up in the tree.
Yeah, at first he thinks it's somebody because his wife uh went to the station, so now they're being
Right,
stalked, right? So he thinks it's some maybe racial thing, and he goes out to go to confront and yell at him, wake up the whole neighborhood, and then he hears something and he looks up and you see our favorite red balloon.
right, and I'm like, "Come on, the police department is not gonna go ahead and blow up a balloon and put it in a tree."
Yeah, and I think this is feeding more into his fear now,
Mhm,
Leroy, right? Yeah,
yeah,
it's because it was able to latch onto him at the river, at least from my beliefs. Like he latched onto that fear, and then you have Will's fear in the bedroom, bring enhancing it, and then he thinks that maybe he's going to be attacked again, probably because he was attacked in uh previous episodes.
right,
Um so he goes in and goes confront, so he has that adrenaline going, and then you have the balloon back. So I think he's starting to put uh maybe two and two together with this and what's happening with their military mission.
right, and, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next episode we actually have this, uh, the chief, I think, or the general of the
Hmm.
military or the major, but
uh
I wouldn't be surprised.
General
General,
Shaw, right? Yeah.
yeah, General Shaw. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get wind of Leroy screaming out in the middle of the street, because now that also causes attention on him, which is something that he didn't want in the first place. And now it makes
Right.
it is making him look like he's crazy.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. As Shaw doesn't seem at I think he's more interested in figuring out this thing for weapon than
Right.
he is a racial attack. I out of all the characters, I think he's the one that's the least concerned about race at this point because he needs them, right?
Right.
Because Dick has that psychic ability, and Leroy is one of the ace pilots that they have. So I think he's going to be more focused on figuring out, like, is this creature's power expanding, maybe,
That's
or
a possibility.
is he going to be compromised now? That could be
Mm,
another way for it to go. So he'll
that's
he'll
true.
be removed from the project. Uh,
Ah,
it,
right.
there's so many different ways that it could go, right?
Exactly.
Keep
But
you guessing, keep you moving, right?
But yeah, I definitely like this. I think that, this was a perfect episode. I like this episode a lot better than episode 3, even though I enjoyed episode 3. I just like the lore and the world building, and it was actually the 15 charts that they actually have throughout the whole entire land. That's, I just want to make that clear. But still, I had a great time watching this. I really felt like I was on the edge of my seat with the whole scene with Marge. I think this is actually a perfect, well balanced episode. I know some people complain about the CGI in episode 3. It looked like Scooby Doo, but I was mostly enthused with the suspense of them with the camera than I was with the special effects.
Yeah, and it's just the straight up fear that they were just trying to push and get out, and you didn't know if it was going to be another theater scene just this time into the theater in the cemetery, right?
Right.
Where all the kids just get slaughtered. So I mean, I wasn't too focused on the CGI for that one and into this one. I do like the effects that we have noticed with General Shaw meeting up with uh Jesus Rose
Mhm.
at the store. It was like he didn't remember, right?
Right.
He didn't remember until he saw her
Mhm.
name, and then everything started coming back to him. So you can already see that whole memory thing going on uh, within Derry.
Right, because if you're away from Derry long enough, you forget about everything. But then once you come back, your memories from your past start coming through.
Yep.
So,
So I think it's really well rounded so far, and I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait for the next episode.
all right. Well, guys, tell me in the comments. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Were you like Chris and I, where we just enjoyed this, the lore of it? Tell us in the comments below. Also, too, I dropped my history of Derry. Is actually more connected with the source material of the book than the actual TV show and stuff. So go in and check that out. I dropped that today. Check that out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. Give me a 5-star review. Let me know what you guys think. And always until next time, guys, have a great safe night. And Chris, thank you so much for joining me with this. It's always
Thanks,
fun.
thanks for having me. Everyone, have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. And hold on, there we go.